Faring better across in terms of any drier or brighter weather, and it's going to feel really quite mild and quite muggy compared to what we've seen recently. Highs of 25, 26, perhaps even 27 degrees. Then through Sunday evening, that showery rain continues to push its way northwards, turning drier across the southeast, some clear spells developing here through Sunday evening. And then it's going to remain quite changeable as we head through much of next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, seeing some showers, some longer spells of rain, but those temperatures returning much closer to average, so feeling fresher than Sunday.
Expect warm spells, with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good evening and welcome to Saturday night's biggest TV show. It's the Saturday 5, live from the GB News studios. I'm Will Kingston and I'm delighted to be joined by Dr. Renee Honderkamp, the deposed Alex Armstrong, Trey Lowe and the numerically named Andy Twirls. Tonight on the show, why you deserve a better class of politician.
The global plan to control your freedom is here.
And the Overton window is shifting fast.
Our flag has been weaponised.
And reforms authoritarian plans.
It's 6 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday Five, ladies and gentlemen. It is a revamped show tonight. We are going to be taking turns in the hosting chair moving forward, a far more equitable approach. I'm not usually a fan of equity, but I think it will work very well in this instance.
Yeah, you're a DEI hire now, aren't you?
Yes,
Migrant hire.
I am
the one thing you never thought Will Kingston would be advocating for until it works for him.
That's exactly right. A bit of housekeeping to get out of the way first, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think Alex ever bothered to go through this, but I will. We want to know your views. Please send them through. Post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your-say. And don't forget to get your questions in for Ask the Five. Almost no topics are off limits. We've got a cracking poll tonight as well to decide what we will talk about in the Saturday scrap. You can vote at gbnews.com/poll. Today we're asking, should there be a general election by 2027? Should children be held accountable for their parents' political beliefs? And third, are the migrant protests an embarrassment to Britain? Pop star Ellie Goulding claims it makes her embarrassed to be British, but you can rely on us to put up a strong argument for why she is entirely wrong. But before we start tearing each other apart, ladies and gentlemen, it is your Saturday Night News with Aaron Armstrong.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you. Our headlines. Violent clashes have broken out at a central London demonstration in support of the banned group Palestine Action. The Met Police says its officers have been subjected to an exceptional level of abuse and a large number of arrests have been made. Around 1,500 people have risked being detained at the protest, one of the biggest acts of civil disobedience in recent years. Protesters held banners in support of the group, which has been prescribed under anti-terror laws. Police have indicated they will arrest anyone demonstrating support. Similar rallies have been taking place in Belfast and Edinburgh. Sir Keir Starmer's made sweeping changes to the Home Office as part of his government reshuffle following Angela Rayner's resignation. Well, Shabana Mahmood was appointed Home Secretary yesterday, replacing Yvette Cooper. Well, now Sir Keir has removed Angela Eagle, the Border Security and Asylum Minister, and Dame Diana Johnson, who was the Policing Minister, in a fresh attempt to tackle illegal migration. The Prime Minister also announced a host of other ministerial changes after yesterday's cabinet reshuffle. But Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, Darren Jones, insists this was always the plan.
This is the second chapter of the Labour government. The first chapter, the first year, being a new government coming in, getting a grip with the crises, putting out the fires that we'd inherited from the Conservatives. And now we're on to chapter 2, where we get to really start to drive delivery of the promises of change that we made to the public at the last election.
Come off it. It's a panicked reshuffle in response to Angela Rayner's resignation, right? Be honest with us.
I'm being honest with you. It's not, because the Prime Minister was already planning a reshuffle. I'll be honest, he wanted to do it in a slightly slower time frame. When it became clear that Angela was going to leave government, the Prime Minister took decisive action and decided to bring that reshuffle forward and just get the job done on Friday.
Nigel Farage has rowed back on yesterday's pledge that he'd stop small boat crossings within 2 weeks of taking office. The Reform UK leader made the claim at his party's conference, which has closed in the past hour or so. However, he's since clarified the timescale, saying it would rely on any government he led passing laws first. He also announced the appointment of MP Lee Anderson as Reform's welfare spokesman. TV host and chef Matt Tebbutt will replace Greg Wallace as a judge on the next series of MasterChef. Tebbutt, who's best known for hosting BBC One's Saturday Kitchen, will join fellow chefs Marcus Waring and Monica Galetti for the next series for professional chefs. It comes after Wallace was sacked following a series of misconduct allegations relating to his time on the amateur series. Millions of mobile phones and tablets across the UK will sound an alert tomorrow afternoon. But don't panic, it is just a test. A siren-like alarm will be heard and your device will vibrate for around 10 seconds. It's happening at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, a nationwide test of the system. And it will go off even if your phone's on silent. It marks the second test after the first took place in April 2023. And the funeral of the Duchess of Kent will take place at Westminster Cathedral on the 16th of September. It will be the first Catholic funeral service held for a member of the royal family in modern British history. In a significant move, the King, who's head of the Church of England, will also attend. Catherine, the wife of the late Queen's cousin, the Duke of Kent, died peacefully at home on Thursday at the age of 92. Those are your headlines. I'll be back with more at 7.
Thank you, Aaron. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm breathing in the power that this hosting chair has bestowed upon me. Alex, you must be feeling uncomfortable at the moment. How do you think phase 2 of the Saturday 5 is going?
I feel like Angela Rayner, actually. Sort of sacked, sort of still around. It's a bit like the ghost is haunting at Christmas, isn't it? You know? No, it's going to be great. I'm excited. It feels like phase 2 of the government, isn't it? But a better reshuffle, better cabinet reshuffle than they've done so far. So there we go.
Well, different hosts each week from now on, but it's still the Saturday 5. Over the next 3 hours, the biggest debates, the hottest topics, and the most entertaining views that you will see on Saturday night TV. I am, and oh, geez, this feels good. I'm going to take the liberty of the hosting chair and go first with tonight's first debate. We'll start with the Rayner affair and the subsequent Labor reshuffle. It's confirmed a sad but important truth. A country that was once led by giants is now led by pygmies. Thatcher, Disraeli, Peel, Pitt the Younger, Churchill, replaced by misfits and mediocrities. Following this reshuffle, we now have a Science Secretary, Liz Kendall, with no science qualifications, a Housing Secretary, Steve Reid, with no experience in construction or housing, a Business Secretary in Peter Kyle, who has never worked in a business, and a Deputy Prime Minister of one of the greatest countries the world has ever known, who, well, I'll let this beauty speak for itself.
Who acceded to the English throne at the age of 9 on the death of his father, Henry VIII, in 1547?
Henry VII.
Edward VI.
Unbelievable. Your Deputy Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to say the obvious. With the odd exception, the calibre of politicians has fallen off a cliff in the 21st century, and it's one of the driving reasons this country is in the mess that it's in today. Improving the quality of politicians should be at the top of the political agenda for every major party. We don't accept rubbish footballers. Bad CEOs get sacked, but for some reason, we let lightweights run this country. Triple their salaries for all I care. Introduce real-world experience requirements at a party level. Blow up the failed PPE to staffer to MP pathway and start encouraging our best and brightest to take up the cause. Because sacking or shuffling one dud out and moving another in won't change the fortunes of this country. Andy, I'll go to you first on this. Surely you must be able to concede that this is the weakest, in terms of political talent, the weakest group of politicians that's ever led this country.
I don't think that's probably true. I mean, one of the things in your monologue there wasn't actually true. Peter Kyle
fact-checked already.
Well, Peter Kyle worked at the Body Shop. He worked in the finance department at the Body Shop. He said he'd never worked in a business. The Body Shop, as far as I'm aware, is a public business. He was he worked in the finance department.
I think he didn't run the business.
It's just not true. He did work in a business, so that's that point. But also,
this is not the type of senior talent that we're looking to run a country, I think is the argument.
Well, I think, Peter Kyle is a great example of what's good about Britain. This is a guy that, failed out of high school, but then turned his life around, went to college as a mature student, got his A-levels, went all the way through to get his PhD, led a major charity, and has gone on to serve in government. That's exactly the kind of person we want in government, is it not?
Do you think he's a role model for us to all aspire to when it comes to governance?
No.
Leading question, I suppose.
Listen, I totally appreciate where Andy's trying to go. He's got to defend his Labour Party, I get it. But the vast majority of people, Andy, in this country will be looking at the Labour Party, they're looking at the front bench and they're going, how on earth are you more qualified than me? There's hundreds of CEOs. I mean, I think Nigel Farage has come up with this really good idea that he's going to stack his cabinet full of people with actual experience.
Unelected bureaucrats.
Well, but you're not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because your cabinet is only accountable.
I thought Reform UK's big point was that they don't want unelected bureaucrats. They don't want the blob, the establishment. They're just going to bolster it with their own people.
But Andy, the reality is that the cabinet's only accountable to the Prime Minister anyway. It's not like you can vote out a cabinet minister.
Well, no, I think it's important that they have scrutiny in the House of Commons for opposition MPs and backbench MPs.
And of course they'll get that through.
Well, no, they won't, because you just don't have that.
Well, one of your secretaries of state's a Lord now. Do you not think they're getting scrutiny? Who? Which one is it? It's one of your
Lord Chair.
It's your Attorney General.
Yeah.
Attorney General Lord Hermer.
Lord Hermer.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
No, yes, you do.
But he doesn't lead a.
Checkmate. Andy can't come back.
Lord Hermer doesn't lead a department.
Yes, he does. He's the Attorney General.
He offers private advice to the Prime Minister. He doesn't run.
Order. There will now be standards on this show moving forward. Alex? Renee, what do you make of all this?
Do you know, it puts me in mind of when I was at medical school and we had, well, I'm only going to say were DEI medical students who really had got in because they ticked certain boxes and they were resitting every single year of their exams and they were not up to being a doctor. And yet they will be doctors today. And that's the scary thing about that, because there will be people out there being treated by people year in, year out, who are not fit to be doctors, but because we want to put certain people in certain roles and tick certain boxes, they end up there. I would say David Lammy is a DEI hire.
Well, of course he is. Trey, I'm sure you don't necessarily agree with that, but what would you make of this? How would you improve the quality
Guys,
of politics?
how's this any worse to some of the other reshuffles and governments we've had? We've had Liz Truss, we've had lots of governments that have not been great.
Economically now, we are far worse than Liz Truss's budget. Our guilt prices are much higher.
True, but I think that's a reflection of what's happening in the world. I think it's a slippery slope a little bit to bring people outside of government who are good at business. Are they necessarily going to be working for the people, or are they going to be working for their buddies in business? But you're right in some sense, though. I don't get a sense that this reshuffle has made anyone feel more confident, really. Come on, let's be honest. But what is going on? It's because it's a Labour reshuffle. If it was a Tory, would it not be the same? There is something about the kind of people that are becoming politicians. I don't think they're doing it for the right reason.
Then you come back to the point that we come back to every single week, which is this is just more of the same old rubbish, and it's time to sweep them all out and start afresh.
Or with reform. I mean, they've lost 2 MPs in the better part of a year. They have the same churn just on a smaller scale because they've got a smaller parliamentary party. What makes you think that, Nigel Farage and Lee Anderson and the rest are any different?
Lee Anderson has worked on a coal mine. Richard Tice has worked in business. He's got his own portfolio of properties and he's run successful business. Nigel Farage worked in the city.
Yeah.
Sarah Pochin has been a public servant for 20 years. They have all had relevant experience in business.
But their track record in Parliament shows that they've got the same churn, if not more.
Well, there is a long way to go in this Parliament. Alex, what do you make of this? Do you think this will actually make a difference to Labor's fortunes?
Do you know what? There's a lot of criticism shoved at Shabana Mahmood, but she's been actually one of the more impressive ones.
True.
And frankly, I know that she's getting a lot of stick online.
Yeah, true,
She's been one of the more impressive ones.
Agree.
I think she's dark horse for the next leader of the Labour Party.
I think she's...
I do. Yeah,
I think she's been very pragmatic. I think she's actually been really good.
Can I tell you why? Can I just explain that point really, because people will be going, "You're nuts, Alex." It's because of two things. One, actually, she's got her track record so far. She got a bad deal. Justice was a disaster in this country. No prisons. What do you do? She was checkmated by the Tories. She's come down quite hard on the Sentencing Council. She's got that veto power, which the Tories never did, by the way. She's got now the power to stop those crazy people in the Sentencing Council, which is good. And also, I think her being a Muslim woman will help against any allegations of racism when Labour will hopefully try to get tough on stopping the vote. I mean, we probably won't deliver it, but if they do, at least there's a woman with some credibility there.
We like to deal with the elephants in the room on the Saturday Five. Renee, do you think it is an issue that there is a Pakistani Muslim person who is now the head of the Home Office?
No.
She's British.
Diplomatically put. Andy, do you think...
She's British Pakistani.
She's a British citizen.
She was born.
I mean...
I'm just asking questions.
Look,
Andy...
you would hold me to the same standards if it were a Jewish person or a Christian person, but we can see that Shabana Mahmood is slightly different to that because her skin colour. And so do I think that's a problem? No, I don't. Will it be a problem in the future? When she's having to say no to migrants coming here who are the same religion as her, we will see.
The thing is, people are, and I will defend some of the public here because they feel worried. They see this rise of Islamism in politics, and they are fearful of that, and they have every right to be fearful of that. It's not natural for this country. However, Shabana Mahmood does not strike me as an Islamist. She may be a Muslim woman, but she's not a radical extremist.
And as I said, we will see.
Yes, and as long as her job of putting the British people comes first before her faith, which is very important, she will be a success. As successful as any Labour politician could be, should I say.
There is a broader concern, though, that many people have that the Labour Party are trying to appeal to an increasingly Islamic demographic in marginal seats. Is that a cause for a concern, Andy?
I don't think so. I think, every party would want to win as many demographics as they can. I think, actually the leadership in number 10 with Morgan McSweeney, he's a big believer in the Blue Labour movement. I think you'd probably see more of a shift to the kind of reform curious voter in our industrial heartlands, more so than any kind of seeking out the Muslim vote. I think to be honest, the real concern there would be your party or the Green Party, to be honest. I think those are the ones going down that road.
You've got Zia Youssef. You've got Zia Youssef. You could say exactly the same.
Exactly.
But when Zia Youssef talks, he doesn't talk like a Muslim man who's looking out for Islam. He talks like a man who's working for reform and wants to bring change to our country.
And that's one of the problems when we start criticising everything that we deem as DEI. You know, the minute you've got someone of colour or a woman or someone from a different faith, it's always assumed they don't really know what they're doing and they're kind of in there as some sort of mole or plant or just a shoe-in. I think judge people by their performance on the job.
Yeah,
simple as that.
I mean, people point to people like Diane Abbott, of course, because she's a black woman, but she is horrendous and she can't count. And she's, in my opinion, a terrible politician.
But you would judge her on actually whether she does well or not.
I'm judging her on what she says and does.
Unfortunately, I think what Will said is a lot of people are going to say that. They're going to see a Muslim woman and just assume she's going to be talking to her mates across and saying, come across. I just think that's wrong.
Well, look, unfortunately, I think the left have brought this upon themselves by making identity central to their mission over the last 20 years.
So has the right. The right has done the same.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
Well, Suella Braverman was a brown woman. Priti Patel was a brown woman, you know.
I think the left have brought this upon themselves, but I'm going to have to just leave it there for the moment. Alex, what have you got coming up for us after the break?
Well, the Overton window, the window in which we can discuss very, sort of racy topics, perhaps. So topics that maybe we're not comfortable with, is moving fast. I can't wait to tell you more about it.
You're not going to want to miss a minute live on GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Yes, welcome back to the Saturday 5. It's the biggest show on Saturday night TV. Please get in contact with us at gbnews.com/your say. Already a few cracking comments coming in. We'll read those out later on. We answer more reader comments than any other show on this channel.
Oh, really?
As Alex Armstrong has never
I get you. Slap me every week for that. Anyway, carry on.
Get your questions in, ladies and gentlemen. Also for Ask the Five. Thank you so much for getting in touch with us so far. Just as importantly, it is time for the Great British Giveaway, and it's our biggest prize package to date. It's an absolute ripper, worth over an incredible £104,000, and it's your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome and bank a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here's all the details you need for a chance to win our biggest prize pool to date.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Geez, that's a wonderful prize, isn't it? Make sure you are in it to win it. A couple of comments coming in already. Patrick O'Sullivan says, the reason America will rise from the ashes is the same reason we will fall. They are America first. We are not. I'm Irish, but I have respect for England as a guest in this country. Do you think it's right that we're not America first at the moment, Alex?
Well, I mean,
we're not UK first?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, well, I hope we're not America first, but I want America to be America first. I want Britain to be, I hate that word Britain first because it's associated with that group. I want Britain to prioritise Britain, and I think we have to always be prioritised by our politicians, which I don't think many people feel we are anymore.
Alan Johnson says, when you look at the calibre of politicians from years ago and compare to what we have today, it's no wonder that this country is going down the pan. Well said, Alan. Time for our next debate, and I'm going to throw the dog a bone. Alex, you're up. What have you got for us?
Well. It's like old times for me. This is great fun. All right. Well, Robert Jenrick's been pushing the Overton window faster than any politician in Britain today. He's now calling for net emigration. That's not just net zero immigration. It's the idea that more people should leave than arrive over the next decade. Well, he slammed prior governments with their limp policies and just let millions of migrants flood into the country, wrecking our public services, wrecking our housing and our National Health Service. He's torched Boris's points-based systems, a bin fire, and wants illegal migrants in prison camps. Well, meanwhile, Kemi Badenoch's asleep at the wheel. Her steady as she goes Tory leadership is a total flop. Well, she's polling at 18%, while Reform are crushing her on 28%. This is a party with just 4 MPs, while she's got 120. What are you doing, Kemi? She's slow, she's dodging the question on the ECHR, and this whole British values talk is just hot air. There's nothing in it, there's no policies there. Well, with figures suggesting that 89% of the housing crisis is tied to migration, of course, not just because of our migration problems, but because of our inability to build anything, Mike Jenrick's bold vision save the Tories? Or is he just biding his time to steal Farage's crown as Reform's next kingpin? Well, Labour's still asleep, Starmer's ECHR loving is letting smugglers thrive, and the public is rightfully fed up. So, has Robert Jenrick got the guts, charisma and energy to be the man to unite the right? Or is he the last gasp of a breath of a dying political party?
Yes, very interesting, Alex, and you'll get the same response from so many people. The talk is great, the rhetoric's wonderful, but can you trust the Conservatives on immigration after 14 wasted years?
Well, I think this is the interesting thing, right? Because Robert Jenrick does stand out of all the Tories that are left, and there's a few I really like and admire, by the way, but they're just not, they haven't got the name. Robert Jenrick is really trying to push the party because he knows if they carry on with this slow approach, they're dead. They are dead.
I want to bring in Andy here because they say you should always take the move which your enemy will want the least. Who would you rather see as the leader of the Conservatives, Kemi Badenoch or Robert Jenrick?
Kemi Badenoch, obviously. I think that'd be fantastic. I think Kemi, Labour for Kemi. I'll be out there supporting it. I think I struggle with Robert Jenrick on this because we can't forget he was Minister for Immigration. He served in the last government. He served in the last couple of administrations. He was at the very core of it. He did nothing when he was in office, and now suddenly in opposition, he's found this, phenomenal direction of policy. I just can't trust it. He does these funny little videos, Bobby J goes to the tube, but I just don't think he's got the actual guts to do anything. Because when he had the chance, he didn't.
Renee, do you think he's got the guts to do it?
I think he's got the guts to do it. I just don't think he's got the platform to do it at the moment with the Conservatives. I think people are so tired of the Conservatives that whilst they'll get behind what he's saying, I would get behind no net migration, nothing, no change. In fact, more people going out than coming in. I would get behind that, and I think much of the public would. But I just don't think they can see the Tories actually doing it. And I don't think the Tories now have the backup for Jenrick to actually carry it off and be a convincing force.
Yeah, I think there's something in that. Alex actually teased an interesting proposition in his little pitch there, Trey, which was that this may be a long-term play from Jenrick, not to lead the Conservatives, but potentially to defect to Reform. Do you think there's anything in that?
I don't think even he would want to do that. People see right through it. You said 3 words which I wrote down, which was guts, charisma, energy. I don't think he has any of those 3. I think it's opportunistic at the end of the day. He's thinking, how can I steal some of that thunder away from Farage? But I don't agree with it. Like you've just said, he was in a position to do something about it. He didn't do it. Why now?
He does have charisma.
Yeah, so do I. He has charisma when you compare him to other Conservative politicians, but compare him to someone with proper charisma.
Well,
not really.
Who has proper charisma?
Even Boris Johnson probably had more. No, that's what I'm saying. I think the bar is so low that we're looking for anybody that seems to stand out because they go and do a couple of performative things that we've clapped for. But in terms of actually really having conviction to do anything, I think he's just thinking, that will get me more votes. It will have me beat Kemi, let me do it. And that's the problem, Will. I think there are not many actual politicians that generally have real conviction. I think a lot of them are all opportunistic. What's in it for me? What can I do to have my star rise? I don't think they're about the country.
Do you know what's really interesting about Robert Jenrick, and this is a sort of hypothesis I have about his strategy, because he's obviously got strategy. They all have strategy.
They do.
Yeah. They all know what they're doing. I think he thinks, right, I can be the Nigel Farage in 10 years' time. He knows that the Tories can't win the next election. Come hell or high water, I think he knows they're finished, at least in another election. But I think he sees a merger happening. I think most of us inevitably will see a merger happening. A lot of the Tories will end up going, right, I've got to go now, or I'm never going at all. And I think once he gets into it, because I do think he'll be welcomed to the Reform Party, and once he's in there, well, Nigel Farage can't be around forever, right?
Yeah.
What happens when Nigel Farage goes? Who is the natural Farage next? And is that Overton window that he's pushing going to be where the public's at in, let's say, 10 years?
Well, Andy, Reform and particularly Farage have basically said words to the effect, over my dead body, to a potential merger.
They always say that.
They always say that. Do you actually think it's a realistic possibility?
I could see them going into coalition in government if they needed the numbers, like come 28 or 29, they need the numbers. I could see them doing a coalition. I don't think they'll have an election agreement like we saw in 2019. But I actually agree with Alex. I think Jenrick would probably stay in the Tories because obviously, Farage is an old guy, but Jenrick's quite, he's in his 40s-ish.
He's not that old.
Farage will be there for at least 20 years.
Late 60s, is he? What is he?
I think he's 59. He's
What?
He's 59.
I'm sure he's just celebrating his 60th birthday.
He's 60 years old. Oh, God, he looks awful for 60. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Which, let me just say, is not old.
No. So 59 is a great age. I
think he's going to be around for at least 20 years.
Jenrick is seeing the long game, though, because even if Reform goes and dies of death, he can stay in the Tories, be the establishment figure, come home to Papa.
Well,
he can be Papa Jenrick. Do you know what I mean?
By staying in the Tories, he's got leverage as well. He's going, I'm going to give this up to Joy. So it's political capital, isn't it? So that's what he'll be using it for, in my opinion. But yeah, Farage, well, of course, I hope he lives a very long life.
He will be around for a while.
Every politician, once they reach the creme de la creme, only has time to go down after that. And once you become Prime Minister, let's face it, the max you ever do is 3 terms, and it's more likely unfortunately, these days, I think we're going to get a lot of one-term prime ministers, maybe two max.
And even Farage, I think, has said he's got one crack at this, basically. He's got one term, is how he, I think, is thinking about it. Renee, the word conviction has come up from Trey. Some people think that Jenrick is saying all of this stuff basically because he sees which way the wind is blowing, but he doesn't really believe it. Do you think he actually is a conviction politician?
OK, I think all politicians almost say everything that they say because they see which way the wind is blowing, because they would be stupid, would they not? Not to. They see where the writing is on the wall, they're going with that. I actually think he probably does think it. I get that feeling from him. I think it is conviction, and I think it's coming from the right place.
Interesting. Very quickly.
I was just going to say something I've completely forgotten anyway, but no, that's what it was.
You are going downhill, aren't you?
I know. Where's my auto cue? Give it back. Give it back. No, listen. What I was going to say is, I think the Home Office, when you're a minister and you work in the Home Office, I think it radicalises you. We've seen that happen to multiple Home Secretaries and people working as immigration ministers. So I think he went there and realised, actually, this is way worse than most people realise it is.
Interesting. It's true. Renee, what have you got coming up for us after this little interlude?
We are the frogs in the boiling water, and we are very, very close to the end of the plan to curtail everything we do.
You're with the Saturday 5 live on GBNews.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. We may see a few showers over the Balearics during the course of Sunday. Meanwhile, it's looking fine in Italy. Lots of sunshine for Greece and most of Turkey too. Just a few showers inland. Most of the beaches staying dry and sunny. There will be a few showers, as I said, heading south across Mallorca, perhaps affecting Ibiza as well, and northern parts of Tunisia seeing a little bit of rain. And there's a weak weather front which may bring thick cloud and the odd spot of rain to the Algarve on Sunday. That clears away though by Monday.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a dry and mostly sunny day for most of us today, however changes on the way as we head through the rest of the weekend. Outbreaks of rain on the way and some strong winds increasing too. It's all thanks to this area of low pressure moving its way slowly towards us. The squeeze in those isobars indicating the stronger winds through Saturday evening. However, as we go through Saturday night and into the start of Sunday, for much of England and Wales it will be staying dry, some clear spells around. For Northern Ireland, parts of Western Scotland though, a little bit of a cloudier picture, some outbreaks of heavy showery rain arriving into the early hours, and with those strong winds it's going to be a very mild night to come. Temperatures widely staying in the double figures, perhaps even as high as 17 or 18 degrees in some spots. So a very warm and perhaps even muggy start to the day on Sunday, but a windy start too, particularly across the west. We could see some coastal gales through the morning. Outbreaks of showery rain arriving across parts of southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland and into western parts of Scotland too. However, eastern areas of the country perhaps faring a little better in terms of some brighter or sunnier spells to start the day on Sunday. As we then go through the rest of Sunday morning, that area of rain continues to push its way northwards. Some heavy downpours are likely here. I wouldn't rule out the odd rumble of thunder mixed in there too. Eastern areas always faring best in terms of some sunnier or brighter skies. However, it is still going to be a very windy day across the country, but particularly across the west, where we'll continue to see some coastal gales. And it's going to be a very warm day too. Temperatures well above average for the time of year, highs of 25, 26, perhaps even 27 degrees. Monday then starts a little bit drier for all of us, a bit fresher too. Not quite as windy as on Sunday, although there will still be some blustery showers feeding in from the west, although plenty of sunshine developing between those showers and temperatures much closer to average as well. Although it's a bit of a changeable picture as we head through much of this week. Some showers, some longer spells of rain, but feeling fresher than it did on Sunday.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation,
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
and each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce,
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, the biggest show on Saturday night TV. Please keep getting your messages into gbnews.com/your say. We've got one here from Grumpy Grandad having a dig. At least Alex actually reads out the comments, Will, not just talking about it. It's not as easy as it looks. Well, no, I think you're right on that one. It certainly is not.
They're learning the hard way, aren't they? You're all going to learn the hard way. It's not as easy as it looks, is it? Yeah.
Well, I will read out Catherine's comment here. Catherine Baker, he being generic, will never get anywhere in the Tories. Another one that needs to defect to reform. That seems to be the prevailing sentiment amongst the people who are messaging in. Well, enough of that for now. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our third debate, and it is the deposed Alex... no, sorry, I take that back. It is the lovely Renee Handicap.
Why, thank you, Will. So, we've had much more push and nudge this week about digital ID. We had Pat McFadden last week. Now this week, headlines screaming that 6 out of 10 of us would like an ID card. What those headlines didn't tell you was actually 6 out of 10 of us said we didn't want digital ID. When that was pushed to digital ID, the numbers dropped away. So I'm pleased, actually, that 6 out of 10 people are seeing the light for what this is. When you see the desperation of a government that has been trying for 20 years since Tony Blair to introduce digital ID, that's your first red flag. Then when they create an illegal migrant problem, they facilitate those people into our country and then tell us that the only solution is for us to all give up our freedoms and have a digital ID. That's the second red flag. So please, guys, stop with the, if I've got nothing to hide, I don't mind a digital ID. You know what? I've got nothing to hide either. But I do think and say and do things that this government, given the chance, would like me to stop. Speaking to you, for example, they'd really like that to stop. They'd like me to stop flying around the world as often as I do. They'd like me to stop using my petrol car. They'd really like the boiler gone from the cupboard under the stairs. And they'd like me to stop moving around the country or even thinking things that they don't like. The moment you let them have your digital ID and then you let them link it to their digital currency, your life is over. They will be able to switch you off at the turn of a button. You will be turned away from planes, turned away from petrol stations. This is it, guys. This is the really, really important bit. We are at the precipice now of the last bit of the jigsaw puzzle of the global plan to digitise everything and curtail our movements. We are the frogs in the water, and the water is getting hot. I'm jumping out. Coming with me?
Well said. And I think maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, some of those scenarios would have sounded outlandish. With this government, I certainly don't think they do. I think we've got a problem around branding these cards. I think some people just think, oh, well, it's just digitising your passport. It's just a bit more convenient. I think we should start calling them behavioural control cards. Andy, this is terrifying, isn't it?
I don't know. I think I agree with having like a government-approved digital version of my passport or of my driver's license or whatever, so I can use it places. Because I don't really carry a wallet around. I pay on my phone. I don't think I'm not even carrying my wallet now. Like to get onto the tube or to buy a bottle of wine if I get ID'd.
You don't need a digital ID card to do that. You can get on the tube, Andy. I promise you.
Well, no, but getting ID'd at places, I think that would be ideal to have it on your phone, and I think most people would probably find it quite useful.
But you can have a photo of your passport on your phone.
Well, they don't accept that because of Challenge 25, because you can fake it. I think it would be quite nice to have, like all my HMRC on one app. Do you know what I mean? I've got 2 government IDs for my PAYE and my self-assessment. I think that should be one on the HMRC app. That would be ideal, to be honest.
Do you know what the problem with your argument is? You want convenience over protecting your freedoms. Yeah. And that is the...
Where does that curtail my freedoms if it's all on
Because if you're putting all of your biometric data and all of your digital ID onto your phone, they tried this in India, and I think it was like 300,000 people had their digital biometric
well, no one's talking about biometric. They're talking about having your...
But this is where it goes.
The data they already have.
Yeah, but this is like everything connected.
But the government already have. The government already have all the data.
So what have it all in one spot? Because if there's a data leak and it's all in one place, that is if it's segmented data leaks, then okay, they might have a bit of information about the whole thing. Those people could be completely frauded out of their entire life savings, everything they own, and they would never be able to prove it wasn't them.
You don't think that credit providers have all this data, and it's in the private sector. What about their data leaks?
But again, it's segmented, right? And governments are terrible for data. Look what just happened with the Afghan data. Do you trust the government with your data?
That would be one of my worries.
Tony Blair ploy, and Labour just falling for it.
You know, Trey, you like a bit of Blairite central.
No. I get a little bit scared when I hear Tony Blair's behind anything. I won't even lie. Look, listen, I was one of those people that was really anti, like, lockdown and all that sort of stuff. I don't really trust government with that kind of information. And I think, Renee, you're right. I think some of it will then be used to actually curtail what we can and can't do. Some of it, potentially, if you had a rogue enough government, could be right. We don't like your views on X, therefore you don't get to partake in getting your wages or your food this week, wherever it might be.
This government,
I'm talking about...
What about the next one? Or the one after?
That is exactly right. And
I think it's a slippery slope to totalitarianism.
They have all the data.
I think that is exactly right. The audience is with you. Lisa Clark, I totally agree, Renee. Tell them to shove digital ID.
Yeah,
too right, slope. Lisa. Trey, what have you got for us?
Oh, I've got something that's going to be a bit controversial for you guys, but anyway, let's rock and roll. So,
judge of that.
Across the country, more and more flags are being flown from rooftops, from roundabouts and from lampposts. And on the surface, it looks like pride in who we are. But symbols matter. And when they are turned into weapons, they stop uniting us and they begin to divide us. We've seen it in Scotland, where the flag has become a battleground around asylum housing. We've seen it in England, where St George's Cross, our national flag, has been used as a warning against perceived outsiders. Then came York, a Chinese takeaway daubed with hate. The St George's Cross scrawled alongside slurs and things that we can't even repeat here. Yet the response was telling. A window cleaner, after his shift, came back with nothing but a sponge and decency and scrubbed away the hate. That's the real Britain, not the loud, angry fringes, but the quiet courage of ordinary people. If we remember that, we can stop symbols of unity from being stolen and make sure that our flag belongs to all of us.
Yeah, look, you're going to get loony fringes in any movement, but overwhelmingly we are a kind-hearted, patriotic people, and the flag is the thing that should bind all of British, English and people of the United Kingdom together. Renee, what do you make of this?
I think we need to be really, really careful with this, Trey, because I think this is exactly what the people who hate this country, who hate our flag, mainly on the left, want us to believe. They want us to believe that our flag is toxic, that it represents the National Front, the EDL, Britain's First, and therefore people shouldn't touch it.
And that's one of the problems. You know me, I am not a lefty by any description. I'm in the pragmatic centre. And that's why I said when I spoke about flags before, I think they should be in schools. I think we should be taught to celebrate it. Me, as someone who's born in the 70s, we do remember there ain't no black and Union Jack. And I know it's flag for anyone that's going to actually start writing in. But we do have this perception by some, and like you say, it's weaponised by some, that somehow flying the flag is unpatriotic and it's been used to demonise people. And that's true. I think we in the centre, most decent people, need to reclaim that flag. It shouldn't just be flown at football matches. It should be flown all the time.
Well, Alex, what does that mean, reclaim the flag, in your view? Do you think that's a legitimate way of looking at it?
It is.
No,
it is.
The flag has always been the flag, and I think what the experience you're speaking from, I think there's a lot of minorities in the country, people with different backgrounds and people of different ethnicities that aren't white British people who have maybe experienced that in the past. And I think in 2025 it's very rarely used that you see the Union Jack or the St George's flag used as like a going down the road beating people up of different.
No, but it is used, for instance, like the BNP.
They don't exist anymore.
But there have been instances, though, I think, when those in authority have used the flag. I know this might be radical, I say, but what if a flag could not be used for hateful purposes, or it was treated very seriously if you daubed it alongside that sort of rhetoric? I think
what I think should happen, I'll tell you what I love seeing.
It should be sacred.
There was a mosque the other day that decided to hang the Union Jack outside their mosque because they love the flag.
Good.
I thought that was exceptionally powerful,
and that's what we should see more of.
And this is what I mean. I think a lot of people in minority ethnic groups in the country are still sceptical of doing that, and actually think what will change that narrative is them going, we're flying the flag as well. There's this brilliant Muslim girl on TikTok, and she has bought a Union Jack, a St George's flag, and she flies them outside her house. And I think that is the kind of integration, this cultural assimilation that British people will love.
Agreed.
Because there's nothing more exceptional about our country than the ability to bring people together.
And we haven't heard from you on this. Do you agree with your fellow lefties that the flag is racist?
No, I don't think so. I think it can be used by racists. I think sometimes it's, historically it's been used by pretty nasty crowds. I think, even, we were talking about it earlier, the term Britain First. first. We don't really use it as a bit taboo because of its historical kind of connections. I think we should be reclaiming this language, not as particularly a left or a right thing, but as an anti-racist and not a pro-racist movement. I think definitely we should be reclaiming it and using it as the positive symbol it should be. Absolutely.
And the reason why I say it as well, I think generally this country is full of decent people. Overwhelmingly.
Brilliant.
I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely decent people. So when some people use it to demonstrate hate, I think we should reclaim it from those people.
I think bad people also eat breakfast. Doesn't mean that breakfast is the problem. The flag is not the problem.
Flag is not the problem, no.
It's quite problematic.
Well, that's a fair point. Andy, what have you got for us coming up after this interlude?
Reform UK's trying to overthrow our democracy in the House of Commons. Zia Youssef leading the charge.
Yeah, we will see about that. You're live with the Saturday 5, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here.
I'm Michelle Juber, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Juber, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, only on GB News, the People's Channel. The comments are flooding in. Neil, the Yorkshire lad, said, just remember, Free World Canada froze truckers' bank accounts for protesting against the government. Imagine when it is that easy for an authoritarian government to do it to us. I think it's a very, very good reminder, Neil. Thank you for that. But let's get stuck into our final debate for the first hour. Andy, what have you got for us?
So big Zia Youssef is at it again. He's no longer the chairman of Reform. He's no longer the head of Doge. He's now head of policy. And he said something pretty terrifying yesterday in an interview. He said that if Reform UK get elected to government, they're going to stack most of the cabinet with unelected bureaucrats, people in the House of Lords, to run entire departments. I thought this was a party that was founded on the premise of being anti unelected bureaucrats? I mean, does he not have faith in the candidates that Reform would put forward to the House of Commons? Or do Reform's hopeful ministers just not care enough about Britain to run, to represent a constituency in this great nation? I'm pretty scared that we won't have cabinet ministers who are in the House of Commons ready to be scrutinised by their peers, members of parliaments, backbenchers, opposition parties. I think this is pretty terrifying that Zia Youssef is planning to overthrow our democratic structures.
Look, I said in my topic that I think we need better quality people in Parliament, so this could do that. But surely Andy has a point, doesn't he, Renee, that this would be anti-democratic, they would be less accountable. How do you feel about it?
So I did say this before the break, that I actually think I agree with Andy, and I think we have to be careful. Look, I think the House of Lords is the best place for a second chamber to not be elected, because if we elect it, it would just be exactly the same as the lower house. And I think it should be stacked with people with relevant experience. I think if a political party starts to do that, you then lose the democratic process if you overload that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I fundamentally disagree. I think this is look, politics is rotten. It's been rotten for a really, really, really long time, and that's because there is no more radical politicians left in Britain. And this country's broken because people, time and time again, politicians are elected into their roles, i.e. Angela Rayner's a good example, and some others in the cabinet, because the Prime Minister is fearful of them, and they need to keep them in the cabinet because they're political opponents. If you put in lords that are basically appointees, well, the Prime Minister can sack them, and the public will be able to sack them very quickly, and they have no threat to overthrowing a government that brings some stability. But the public don't. Well, the public don't sack them. You're right; they are lords. I do think we need to have some conversations about how we can change the lords to make it slightly more democratic, and some accountability, but. That being said, we do need some people with business experience. We need some people.
So why don't they run as MPs? Why won't they run as MPs?
No, I think the issue is. I think. Sorry to interrupt there. Sorry. I think maybe we should actually start paying them CEO level. I know it sounds controversial to say that, but if you want CEO type people, perhaps we should be paying MPs in certain positions at least CEO type salary, so it's actually competitive and they come and do the best job. But I don't want Elon Musk's necessary types in the government. I don't think that's going to be.
Do you know why people react so badly when you say we should pay our MPs more? It's because they see the quality of MP that we've got and they think, oh, God, that person deserves less than they're currently earning, not more. But, you know, in Singapore, they pay the Prime Minister $1 million and he's not allowed to work outside of it, but he doesn't need to and does a really good job. I mean, you might not agree with all the politics of Singapore, but, you know, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And when you consider that managers in the NHS are earning more than the Prime Minister...
That's nuts. It objectively is nuts, and I think MPs' pay is a separate conversation, but I just don't think it's tenable where you've got a decent proportion of the cabinet. Obviously, in the last government, David Cameron was Foreign Secretary from the Lords. In this government, Richard Hermer, the Attorney General, is in the Lords. But I think it's fine when it's one or two because they can have deputies in the House of Commons. I just don't think that's tenable from a scrutiny level when it's, 5, 6, 7, maybe more at cabinet level.
But you know, the great thing about the Lords is if you ever... And most people have never watched the Lords debate before, but it's some of the best politics in this country happens in the House of Lords. The most experienced, and it's eloquently done, not shouting at each other, not trying to get on air, and actually you get far more scrutiny in the House of Lords than you do...
But not by the people's representatives, not by the elected people's representatives.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be held accountable.
Well, it's significantly more difficult.
Good. I mean, I think everyone needs to watch House of Lords debate and see how much accountability is held in there. And I would say
not by elected representatives, though. That's the issue, because they can be held to account by GBNews, by other media outlets.
But
it's important by the elected representatives.
Cabinet is already held accountable by the public as it is through the media and through social media and through... The reason why Rayner's gone is because of the media, not because of kids.
She broke the Minister's Code. That's why she went.
Well, but that's because nobody would know had it not been for the free press. So it doesn't matter anymore. There's no trigger for an MP to have to sack a cabinet, right? There's no trigger for that.
Well, the Prime Minister can.
Yes, but the Prime Minister can still do that with a Lord.
But they don't have the level of scrutiny that elected representatives have.
I understand the sentiment, and I know it's not necessarily a good look.
A quick final word from you.
Yes.
I think if you want to attract that kind of talent, pay what that kind of talent would expect to earn, and then hold them to account that way. But I think Yeah, it's as simple as that. Pay them what they should.
Yeah,
they
I just wonder whether people are actually getting a bit tired of democracy and they're maybe now starting to look for results at the expense of process.
What are you suggesting?
And we've certainly seen that at various points across the world. I'm not necessarily saying that's a good thing, but people are a bit tired with the democratic process. I'm going to have to stop it there because we are tight on time and I don't want to stuff the first time I go to a hard out. Loads more to come on the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen, including the Saturday Scrap. In a matter of seconds, the poll will close at gbnews.com/poll. Head over there now for the scrap to pick what you want us to be talking about. Plus, we'll be getting the latest from the Reform UK conference and a fresh batch of triggered tantrums coming your way. Don't go anywhere on the Saturday 5 on GB News, the People's Channel.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a dry and mostly sunny day for most of us today, however changes on the way as we head through the rest of the weekend. Outbreaks of rain on the way and some strong winds increasing too. It's all thanks to this area of low pressure moving its way slowly towards us. The squeeze in those isobars indicating the stronger winds through Saturday evening. However, as we go through Saturday night and into the start of Sunday, for much of England and Wales it will be staying dry, some clear spells around. For Northern Ireland, parts of Western Scotland though, a little bit of a cloudier picture, some outbreaks of heavy showery rain arriving into the early hours, and with those strong winds it's going to be a very mild night to come. Temperatures widely staying in the double figures, perhaps even as high as 17 or 18 degrees in some spots, so a very warm and perhaps even muggy start to the day on Sunday, but a windy start too, particularly across the west. We could see some coastal gales through the morning. Outbreaks of showery rain arriving across parts of southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland and into western parts of Scotland too. However, eastern areas of the country perhaps faring a little better in terms of some brighter or sunnier spells to start the day on Sunday. As we then go through the rest of Sunday morning, that area of rain continues to push its way northwards. Some heavy downpours are likely here. I wouldn't rule out the odd rumble of thunder mixed in there too. Eastern areas always faring best in terms of some sunnier or brighter skies. However, it is still going to be a very windy day across the country, but particularly across the west, where we'll continue to see some coastal gales. And it's going to be a very warm day too. Temperatures well above average for the time of year, highs of 25, 26, perhaps even 27 degrees. Monday then starts a little bit drier for all of us, a bit fresher too. Not quite as windy as on Sunday, although there will still be some blustery showers feeding in from the west, although plenty of sunshine developing between those showers and temperatures much closer to average as well. Although it's a bit of a changeable picture as we head through much of this week. Some showers, some longer spells of rain, but feeling fresher than it did on Sunday.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benamar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised. I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good evening and welcome back to the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's the Saturday 5, live from the GB News studios. I'm Will Kingston, along with the lovely Renee Hunderkamp, the scheming Alex Armstrong, the centrist Trey Lowe, and the numerically named Andy 12s. Tonight on the show, I've pointed out my dating failures to you from time to time. Check out this dating advice.
The most radical thing you can do right now is start dating immigrants.
What?
I won't be doing that.
What will you do for us, Renee?
What will I do for you? Oh, sorry. Get ready to scrap, guys. Should there be a general election in 2027?
And Reform UK are flying high on the second day of their party conference.
And how long have we got before the final pub closes its door in the UK?
Plus, don't forget to ask your questions for Ask the Five.
It's 7 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. What a couple of hours we have ahead for you, ladies and gentlemen. We still want to hear your views. Get them in, send them and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/yoursay. But before we start tearing each other apart once again, it's your Saturday Night News with Aaron Armstrong.
Very good evening to you. Thanks very much indeed. Some breaking news to begin with. GB News can exclusively reveal that more than 1,000 migrants have crossed the English Channel today. It follows 10 straight days of no crossings due to bad weather and takes the total number of illegal arrivals so far this year to more than 30,000. Now, the landmark figure's been reached on the first full day in office for the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, who has been tasked with stopping the boats. And the news also comes as Sir Keir Starmer makes sweeping changes to the Home Office in an effort to address the crisis. As we mentioned, Shabana Mahmood appointed to replace Yvette Cooper as Home Secretary yesterday. Well, today he's removed Angela Eagle, who was the Border Security and Asylum Minister, and also Dame Diana Johnson, who was the Policing and Crime Minister, as he makes fresh attempts to tackle illegal migration. The Prime Minister announced a host of other ministerial changes too, following yesterday's major cabinet reshuffle. But Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, Darren Jones, insists this was always part of the plan rather than a hasty reset to regain control.
This is the second chapter of the Labour government. The first chapter, the first year, being a new government coming in, getting a grip with the crises, putting out the fires that we'd inherited from the Conservatives. And now we're on to chapter 2, where we get to really start to drive delivery of the promises of change that we made to the public at the last election.
Come off it. It's a panicked reshuffle in response to Angela Rayner's resignation, right? Be honest with us.
I'm being honest with you, it's not, because the Prime Minister was already planning a reshuffle. I'll be honest, he wanted to do it in a slightly slower time frame. When it became clear that Angela was going to leave government, the Prime Minister took decisive action and decided to bring that reshuffle forward and just get the job done on Friday.
At least 150 people have been arrested after violent clashes broke out at a demonstration in support of the banned group Palestine Action. The Met Police says its officers have been punched, kicked, spat at and had objects thrown at them during a rally in Westminster in which an estimated 1,500 people took part. Protesters held banners in support of the group, which has been prescribed under anti-terror laws. Piers Corbyn, the brother of former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, was amongst those to be detained. Similar rallies have also taken place in Belfast and Edinburgh. TV host and chef Matt Tebbett will replace Greg Wallace as a judge on the next series of MasterChef. Tebbett, who's best known for hosting BBC One's Saturday Kitchen, will join chefs Marcus Waring and Monica Galetti for the first series for professionals. It comes after Wallace was sacked following a series of misconduct allegations relating to his time on the amateur series. Millions of mobile phones and tablets across the UK will sound an alert tomorrow afternoon. But don't panic, it is just a test. A loud siren-like alarm will be heard. Your device will vibrate for about 10 seconds at 3 p.m. It's a nationwide test of the public alert system. It will mark the second test after the first took place in April 2023. And the funeral of the Duchess of Kent will take place at Westminster Cathedral on the 16th of September. It will be the first Catholic funeral service held for a member of the royal family in modern British history. In a significant move, the King, who's head of the Church of England, will attend. Catherine, the wife of the late Queen's cousin, the Duke of Kent, died peacefully at home on Thursday at the age of 92. Those are your latest headlines. I'll be back with more at 8.
Thank you, Aaron. It's Saturday night and you're with the Saturday 5. The auto cue says I'm Alex Armstrong. That's dead wrong. I'm Will Kingston. I can promise that you're in for a very lively hour ahead. But I want to start, before we start with our bunch of fives, with and our scrap, some breaking news now. Classic, shocking but unsurprising story revealed by our Home and Security editor, Mark White. The new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, has faced a shocking introduction to the small boats crisis after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the channel illegally on her first full day in office. So much for smashing the gangs. By early evening, GBNews counted 1,027 migrants as they were brought to the Border Force Processing Centre at Dover Harbour. It takes the total number of illegal channel migrants so far this year to more than 30,000. We're starting to fill up football stadiums now with those types of numbers. This grim total was reached just after 6 p.m. when the Border Force catamaran Hurricane arrived into Dover with 205 migrants on board. Alex, again, I say shocking but unsurprising. Do you think the Shabana Mahmood will be able to stop the boats?
No, I don't, because there's only one way to stop the boats, and that's by starting to deport migrants. And until we can actually mass deport migrants, illegal migrants in this country, they will keep on coming. And while we've got a soft touch on them, they will keep on coming. While they can get a home, they'll keep on coming. While they can get a meal every day, they'll keep on coming. So until we crack down on all those things, which Labour's ideologically opposed to, no, she won't be able to.
Are you more hopeful, Andy?
I think so. I think genuinely she's one of the most successful operators, like genuinely quite good operators that the Labour Party has at cabinet level. She did extremely well as national campaign coordinator. She really turned around the fortunes of the Labour Party in 2022, 2023. She's done pretty well at justice.
How's she going to do it?
I think she's going to take a hard line with civil servants and really push things along. She's going to work to get rid of the backlog in the appeals court. I think she's going to work really hard to get those deportation flights going. I think she's going to push France to the limit of what they can do to stop them coming out the source.
Detention centres?
I don't think detention centres is the way forward.
Certainly worked for Australia. Would you put detention centres in place, Tro?
It depends. As long as people are treated humanely, then it depends on what it looks like. If it looks like some sort of concentration camp, then definitely not. But if it looked like something that wasn't as enticing as what people who are crossing the channel think it is, then sure, I think that's one of the... The issue I only have is the way that so much of the optics is actually on migrants and not enough necessarily on the wider economic issues that we have. That's the problem I've got. But I think Shabana is probably best placed to do it because she's fresh, she's new on the job, and she can show that she's actually tough on this.
Yeah, I have my doubts because I don't think the problem is the leader. I think the problems are the policy, and until you actually remove the incentives to come into this country, more people will come. It's very unfortunate. But you've all been voting for what you want us to debate in the Saturday Scrap. Ding, ding, ding. The results are in, and only 84% of people voted for whether children should be held accountable for their parents' political beliefs. In a also distant second, 13% of you wanted us to debate whether the migrant protests are an embarrassment to Britain. I can answer that question. Of course they're not, which means a whopping 83% of you voted for whether there should be a general election by 2027. Should we have an early election? Let's crack on with tonight's main event. As a bit of background for this one, Nigel Farage has suggested there is a strong possibility of a general election in 2027. Speaking at the Reform UK conference in Birmingham, he argued that turmoil in government and Angela Rayner's resignation as Deputy Prime Minister meant the party must be prepared to contest an election 2 years earlier than expected. So, should there be a general election by 2027? Seconds out, it's round one.
OK.
Who's going to go first? Renee, are you going to kick us off?
I am going to kick us off, but I need to just let you know that I don't really think there should be an election in 2027 because I think there should be one in 2025. But anyway, in the spirit of arguing this particular scrap, of course there should be one as soon as possible. And if that's 2027, well then bring it on. It means we've only got 2 more years of pain instead of 4. Look, let's look at this election. It was the lowest turnout of voters since 1918. 1918, the lowest turnout was 57.2%. That means when you actually take the population of adults in this country, only 34% of them ushered in this government with their massive majority. But it wasn't a massive majority, was it? Because hardly anyone voted. That's number one. Number two, they got 9,700,000 votes. If you added together the Tories and Reform, if you added together Tories and Labour, if you added together, Tories and the Lib Dems, Tories and the Greens, they got more than Labour. People didn't want this government, they just didn't want the Tories. We told them it was a mistake, but there you go. There's a petition currently online that 3 million people have signed to call a general election tomorrow. This government have managed in just 1 year of office to have the lowest approval ratings of a government a year after they've come in than any other government. In actual fact, they're minus 59, which is where they're running. That means 70% of people disapprove of them. Is actually worse than the Tories when they called the last election, when they were at minus 56. It's over. Phase 1 was rubbish. Phase 2 I missed because I went to the loo. Phase 3 is here. It's rubbish too, and it will be rubbish. I'll leave you, Andy, to convince you otherwise.
I think it's, not an uncompelling argument. To be honest. It's not an uncompelling argument, but fundamentally, a lot of those things just don't matter because of the electoral system we have. We don't have proportional representation because the Tories blocked a lot of democratic reforms that a lot of political parties were advocating for. I think even Reform UK have come out as pro-PR. Fundamentally, it doesn't matter that there was a low turnout because it's the system that we have. We don't have mandated voting like Australia do. Fundamentally, on the rules that the Electoral Commission set, that the government of the day set, the Labour Party won a resounding majority, a huge parliamentary majority, more MPs than even Tony Blair got in 1997.
On the lowest vote share since 1980.
I can acknowledge that, and I do wish that they'd got a higher vote share, but fundamentally, on the rules as they are, they won a 5-year term. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, just because of the way it is, you need at least, 3-4 years to actually show any delivery of your policies in the country. So just give them a chance.
Can we just declare that I've won the scrap?
Well, I think Andy's first sentence certainly made the job easier as an adjudicator, but I also think he has a fair point. He does. In that a lot of people, I think, are just hoping for an election, and a lot of people are saying, well, basically the Labor Party will just be so embarrassed after one more stuff-up that they will inevitably then, out of embarrassment, call an election. Do you think it's actually possible? What's the mechanism, Alex, for how an early election would take place?
Well, there is only one, and it's a vote of no confidence. That could force a government's hand to have a general election.
Never happen with that majority.
Exactly. Well, we have to be cataclysmic for Labour to do that, and it would require other parties in Parliament to also agree, which they probably would because they want general elections all the time. However, that being said, I think the big question is whether the rest of the political parties currently, who are all in a little bit of a mess other than Reform, would actually want a general election. I don't think the Tories want one. I think Reform wants more time to get itself in order order to be ready to fight one. I think it would be the most prepared of all the opposition parties. You almost wonder if Labour actually call a snap election, because now might be the best shot.
I want to follow up on that. I'm sorry, because Farage has said he wants reform to be ready to fight by 2027. Yeah. Do you think they actually will be?
Oh, yeah, I think they'll definitely be. I think they'll probably be ready by the end of next year.
With Nadine Dorries in charge of their preparation for government.
Do you think reform could actually manage to get it together by 2027?
I'm not sure. That's the thing. You know, it's funny when Farage was in the States and they were talking about his finance, and I do wonder. I mean, Yusuf is amazing, but I don't know whether they would actually have it together in that time. I don't think they'd want an election tomorrow, and I definitely don't think Labour would. It'd be like a turkey voting for Christmas in January. You want to delay it for as long as you
But do you not think it'll be worse? Do you not think it'll be worse?
That Reform is saying 2027... but to give themselves time and to will it to happen in 2027.
Well, I think there's something also about building momentum, right? Because by 2027, everyone's in election campaigning mode, right? That's it. You know, there's 2 years coming up. Well, as soon as you hit that 2-year mark from a general election, everyone's out campaigning. So I think in one way or another, you should be ready to go at a snap election when the government is in crisis. It could call a snap election when it feels it favours its polls the best. Let's say Labour pop up 5% in the polls. They might decide, actually, this is the best chance we're going to get of retaining some of our seats. We might lose, but it saves us from electoral oblivion.
I mean, I couldn't imagine a world where Morgan McSweeney and Keir Starmer's number 10 call an election before 2028. Do
you think Keir Starmer's going to be Prime Minister in 2028?
I think as things are going, yeah. I mean, who's there to replace him?
You know what, though? Labour
that's
might...
a very good question, and I'll follow up on that to Alex. Who is there to replace Keir Starmer?
Shabana Mahmood's the only one.
Not Wes Streeting.
Not right now.
No, Hay, not Angela Rayner. A return of the dark horse.
Angela Rayner's finished for the time being. Wes Streeting has got a seat with the thinnest majority in the country. He's probably going to lose it.
Burnham
isn't an MP yet.
In a by-election.
Well, yeah, I think if he did, but I think there'll be dark forces to stop it.
This is a real problem for Labor. They've got a lot of their key personnel in very marginal seats, which is dangerous. Renee, what do you think? Do you think Starmer will survive through till the next election? And if not, who will replace him?
I can't see him surviving because he looks terrified every day. He's looking about 100 years old now. He has aged so much, as so many of them do. In terms of who will replace him, I do wonder if Shabama is there as a dark horse.
Yeah, because you're forgetting as well, though, this is an outside chance, but the Tories could still enough of Reform's clothing get Jenrick in there. You never know. They might actually have a competitive chance. We don't know what might happen. I think Dr. Renee touched on something. Hardly anyone bothers to vote anymore. That's the thing. So anything could change at any time if enough people came out and voted.
I do think there'll be a massive turnout at the next election.
I do think it would be, yeah.
Renee, what was that sigh suggesting, the Conservatives? Do you think they're done?
Yes.
No,
I certainly think they're done at the moment. I don't think they're anywhere near being ready. And I don't think people are anywhere near ready to forgive them.
No. A broader show of hands at the table, please, as we go to a wide show of hands. Do we think the Conservatives are done as a political force in the UK?
Describe what you mean by done. What do you mean by completely finished?
Unelectable, never win another general election in history.
No way.
Well, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I can't think I can
No
say that.
way, impossible.
No.
I don't think never. I didn't say never.
No.
I think they're done for now.
The question is, I think potentially, and Farage talked about this with the Canada example at the conference, probably what is more likely is that the Conservative apparatus would be folded into Reform, and that would probably take for Reform's branding and the Reform name. So from that sense, you would say that they will never win.
Well, that's true. A reformed Conservative Party. We've got quite a nice ring to it, I guess, so there we go.
I think you forget, though, the Conservative Party have massive infrastructure. Whether it is just the properties that they own or the genuine massive donor networks that they have. Things like that, it's a massive traditional political party.
I was going to say, I was looking last week, and I think in the last year, the Tories have had more donations than anyone else.
But to be fair, they have just...
Right off the Tories.
Yeah, they have just sacked the chairman that fundraised it all, to be fair. That's by the by.
Well, that's a very interesting... I want to pick up on that after, but we first still come tonight.
The most radical thing you can do right now is start dating immigrants.
It's intolerable, isn't it? We have more...
You wondered why your dating's going bad.
That's what you should be doing.
I haven't been listening to the lefties. That's obviously the problem. We have our trigger tantrums coming up, of course, but next it's the big interview where we will get the latest on the second day of Reform's UK conference. Some interesting entertainment there. You're live with the Saturday 5, only on GBNews.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5 on the People's Channel. Please get in contact with us, gbnews.com/your say. Francis has said on your say, why doesn't the King dissolve Parliament to get rid of these traitors in government? Well, Francis, I think secretly the King doesn't mind this government and their particular worldview, but that's just an instinct.
Can I just hang on? Can I just say, because I hear this comment all the time, and we all know that the royal family will never intervene in politics because that will be it for them. They will be gone. So people at home who think that the royal family, yes, whilst it is their constitutional duty, they are only doing it when informed by the Prime Minister of the time.
Yeah, and look, probably for the best, but geez, if, you know, Chuck could just step up and really accelerate things.
He'd be following in his forefathers, you know, Charles I, Charles II, both dissolved Parliament.
Look what happened to them.
Look what happened to Charles I.
The monarch ever to be executed.
Oh, God, yeah. It didn't go well for him.
Oliver Cromwell will be rising from the grave, wouldn't he?
Never happening.
Anyway, we need to kick on. Reform UK and its supporters convened today for the second day of the party's conference in Birmingham. Party leader Nigel Farage claimed the party is gaining momentum and urged attendees to be ready for a potential early general election in 2027. To discuss this, I am delighted to welcome the leader of Reform UK in the London Assembly, Alex Wilson. Alex, welcome, mate. Thank you for being on the show. What were your reflections from the 2 days in Birmingham?
Evening. It's been a fantastic couple of days, our biggest ever conference, thousands of members, activists, volunteers and potential candidates, and some incredible speeches from the main stage. But also what's been different this year compared to our previous events, a really active fringe, lots of discussions, lots of debates, some really positive energy. And I think energy is the big word that's come from what we've seen. So many people having a really good time, enjoying themselves, but learning more about what the party's about and getting ready for how we fight those next elections. Obviously, leading up to that general election, whenever it may be. But we've got Scottish Parliament, Welsh Assembly, local council elections next year as well. We need to build on the success that we've had in those elections this year, our polling success, our membership, all those things heading in the right direction. And yeah, it's been a fantastic couple of days. Everyone basking in the success that we've had so far, but importantly, preparing for those next challenges ahead.
Yeah, it was certainly wonderful theatre, and there's probably actually two ways that you can look at that. No one does this sort of political theatre like Reform, and it was very impressive. At the same time, some people are saying it was more style than substance. Some people thought that there were particular parts which were maybe a tad cringe. Certain particular politicians who may have thought of themselves as singers for once. Do you think that this was actually just more style and rhetoric than actually a proper policy-led political convention?
No, not at all. I think, as I said, compared to what we've had previously, there has been a lot more genuine discussion and debate on the fringe, lots of ideas, lots of speakers, guest speakers, people who are not necessarily associated with the party, but coming to share their ideas and discuss that with members and, get everybody ready for it. There is a lot of kind of razzmatazz and glitz and glamour around anything that Nigel does. He's that kind of chap. He's, he does attract that kind of attention, and that's great. It gives us a real kind of buzz, and that's where the kind of the uplifting kind of real vibe sort of has come from. But no, seriously, we are about trying to be positioning ourselves to be the next government of this country.
Well,
and
I want to follow up on that, because a lot of people are, well, Nigel's saying that he wants to be ready by 2027, but everyone knows at the moment that it's still a start-up party and a lot of the operational apparatus is not developed and in a place it would need to be. Do you think that the party can get to a place where it could potentially form a government in 2027?
Yes, and the reason why is because on top of everything that the National Party has been doing and sort of growing on a kind of national level, HQ, and the stuff that Nigel and the MPs have been leading on, at the grassroots, and this is where the real change has happened. Since this time last year, we've now established 450 branches right across the country with, we've got local people leading those branches, selecting candidates locally for the council elections. But the council elections we just had in May, just a couple of or so months ago, we stood more candidates than any other party in those elections. And we were only able to do that because we've got that branch structure now in place. And that's still building, still growing, still developing. Yes, we need to learn campaign techniques. And this is one time you'll hear me say, we need to learn from the Lib Dems. They're very good at targeting and data-driven campaigning. That's something we're looking to do. Obviously, we don't want to follow their policy because it's mental, but we want to follow their campaigning techniques and absolutely keep fighting and keep winning on a local level that builds the party, builds that kind of volunteer base, get that stronger base in local government and use that as a springboard for that general election. Now, look,
before you go on, I want to pull in Renee here.
Hi, Alex. It sounds like you had a great time, and it sounds like you are in touch with the grassroots, as it were, the people who are actually there and living and breathing reform. When you talk to those people, the biggest criticism that we hear is that, firstly, Nigel has not many policies. Now he's got a few more, and he's got 80 billion pounds worth of uncosted spending. Do people at grassroots worry about that? Do they believe that that's true, or do they believe that Nigel and his party can overcome those hurdles?
We know that we are going to have a fully worked out and fully costed policy programme in a way that parties like this have never had to do before, because we are leading in the polls, and we've led in 109 consecutive opinion polls. Now, I know things can go down as well as up, and there's a long way to go, possibly until that election, but because we are the front runners at the moment, we know everything we say, everything we do is going to be very closely scrutinised. So we know that policy platform, which will be worked on, has to be fully costed, it has to add up. And I'm confident that the team that's going to be doing that are very, very cognizant of that. But ultimately, what this is about, we're on a mission to save this country. We had 14 years of Conservative failure. We've had 14 months of Labour failure. People are crying out for an alternative, and we are offering that. And that's why people are getting behind us in huge numbers, huge enthusiasm for us as a party. We know it's on us to then deliver that. But absolutely, I'm convinced, I'm confident the people that Nigel is putting in place, we're building a broader team. It's not just about Nigel now. We are building a broader team and bringing people with skills and expertise, not just in politics, but in the real world, in business, in public service, people who run things, people who've made those decisions, people who know how to get things done. And that's going to be absolutely crucial, because we have this opportunity, but it's also a huge obligation. We have to deliver. We know that, and we're absolutely 100% committed to that fight.
Well, I can see that Andy on our panel is slightly less than convinced. Andy?
I just, great to have you with us, Alex. I think I just can't take it seriously. At your conference, not only did you have Andrea Jenkins making an absolute fool of herself, but you had Nadine Dorries, the author of the Online Safety Act, revealed as the headline defection when your party's been talking down the Online Safety Act for the last month. And then Nigel went on and said he's going to stop the boats in 2 weeks of being elected. Are you telling me that you're going to leave the ECHR within 2 weeks of starting up at government? Are you going to make sure that the Good Friday Agreement is enshrined in a new Bill of Rights? Are you even going to be able to pass a new British Bill of Rights in 2 weeks? Or is he just lying to us?
We've got to be ready to hit the ground running from day one, and the legislation will be drafted before we get to that stage. So we will be ready to hit the ground running and get on with it. But as far as...
But how can you account for the House of Lords? The House of Lords will block this. It takes longer to get it through the House of Commons than the House of Lords. It takes longer than 2 weeks.
I believe, Alex, he changed... I believe that Nigel changed that statement.
If it's clearly written in the manifesto, the House of Lords cannot get in the way. Obviously, if we try and do things that are not in the manifesto, then the House of Lords can block and delay.
Well, no, they can. They can just extend the debate.
It will be front and centre.
They can, Alex. You just don't understand Parliament, it would seem.
It will be front and centre of what we're campaigning in that election. We will have that mandate to do that. It will be in the manifesto, and it will get done. And we've got more chance of getting it done than either the Conservatives who tried and failed, or Labour who simply aren't serious about trying to tackle that problem at all, because they don't want to. It's not in their DNA to control our borders.
I'm loath to stop this just as it's getting spicy, but unfortunately that's all the time we have. Alex, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thanks, Alex.
Cheers, Al.
That was the leader of Reform UK in the London Assembly, Alex Wilson. Still to come tonight. Oh yeah, this week's triggered tantrums, but next, could we soon see the death of Great Britain's pubs? It would be a tragedy, of course. And why is Yvette Cooper obsessed with our flags? It's Bunch of Fives next. You're, of course, with the Saturday Five, live on GBNews, the People's Channel.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello. We may see a few showers over the Balearics during the course of Sunday. Meanwhile, it's looking fine in Italy. Lots of sunshine for Greece and most of Turkey too. Just a few showers inland. Most of the beaches staying dry and sunny. There will be a few showers, as I said, heading south across Mallorca, perhaps affecting Ibiza as well. And northern parts of Tunisia seeing a little bit of rain. And there's a weak weather front which may bring thick cloud and the odd spot of rain to the Algarve on Sunday. That clears away, though, by Monday.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Good evening, welcome to our latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a dry and mostly sunny day for most of us today, however changes on the way as we head through the rest of the weekend. Outbreaks of rain on the way and some strong winds increasing too. It's all thanks to this area of low pressure moving its way slowly towards us. The squeeze in those isobars indicating the stronger winds through Saturday evening. However, as we go through Saturday night and into the start of Sunday, for much of England and Wales it will be staying dry, some clear spells around. For Northern Ireland, parts of Western Scotland though, a little bit of a cloudier picture, some outbreaks of heavy showery rain arriving into the early hours, and with those strong winds, it's going to be a very mild night to come. Temperatures widely staying in the double figures, perhaps even as high as 17 or 18 degrees in some spots. So a very warm and perhaps even muggy start to the day on Sunday, but a windy start too, particularly across the west. We could see some coastal gales through the morning. Outbreaks of showery rain arriving across parts of southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland and into western parts of Scotland too. However, eastern areas of the country perhaps faring a little better in terms of some brighter or sunnier spells to start the day on Sunday. As we then go through the rest of Sunday morning, that area of rain continues to push its way northwards. Some heavy downpours are likely here. I wouldn't rule out the odd rumble of thunder mixed in there too. Eastern areas always faring best in terms of some sunnier or brighter skies. However, it is still going to be a very windy day across the country, but particularly across the west, where we'll continue to see some coastal gales. And it's going to be a very warm day too. Temperatures well above average for the time of year, highs of 25, 26, perhaps even 27 degrees. Monday then starts a little bit drier for all of us, a bit fresher too. Not quite as windy as on Sunday, although there will still be some blustery showers feeding in from the west, although plenty of sunshine developing between those showers and temperatures much closer to average as well. Although it's a bit of a changeable picture as we head through much of this week. Some showers, some longer spells of rain, but feeling fresher than it did on Sunday.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, the biggest show on Saturday night TV. Where else would you rather be? Get in contact with us, of course, at gbnews.com/your say. Hasn't always been the case, but now I'm here. We answer more of your questions and respond to more of your comments than any other show on GB News. Also, don't forget to get your questions in.
Data.
I'm more of a qualitative guy, I don't do data. Get your questions all about the vibe, all about the feels, just like the Reform Conference today. Get your questions in as well for Ask the Five. Nothing's off limits. Thank you for your messages so far. There's a couple here. Joanna from Somerset says, Darren Jones will be the Chancellor by the new year. Rachel Reeves is being set up to deliver the worst budget ever while he is nicely out of the firing line. She will then be sacked and he will take over.
Darren Jones is already the Chancellor. Do people not pay attention? He's just been... He was a junior minister to Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer's just promoted him because she's doing such a terrible job. We've now got two chancellors. Let's get real. He is reporting to Keir Starmer on economics. He's like, it's a guise. See through it all.
But she's the
and you know it.
I mean,
you know it,
the thing is, the Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster has been held by many people. I mean, Michael Gove held it. Pat McFadden most recently held it. Like, it's a separate... They run the Cabinet Office, is what they are.
I know,
but
he
wasn't a junior...
He's doing,
also, he wasn't a junior minister. He was Deputy Chancellor.
Well, you know...
Do you know what I mean? Like,
he was junior to Rachel Reeves.
Yeah, I suppose.
I will break this up because we've got to move on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for this. Cue slight bits of panic from panellists to the left of me wondering, trying to remember what their bunch of five was. No names. I will kick us off to give them a bit more time to get their thoughts together. And I think it's a really, really worrying and sad one this week. This one. It came from a story in the Telegraph today that looked at current trend lines for the closing of pubs at the moment. Basically, if the trend line continues, the last pub in the United Kingdom will close in 2050. Now, look, I don't think it will get that bad, but it certainly makes a point that this is such a sad thing to happen when pubs are, in many ways, the fulcrum around which British society functions. It's obviously being driven by a couple of things. You know, kids are drinking less, which I think is a tragedy, as well as this awful government and their inflicted pain on business. Renee, this would be a tragedy, wouldn't it?
Be a tragedy. As I said last week, we need more sex, drugs and rock and roll. And most of that starts in pubs, or it used to. And this boring bunch of young people need to get off their backsides and support our local pubs.
Yeah, but it's obviously Labor's fault, isn't it, Andy? With all of the, the national insurance and the tax rises, it's just...
I don't think you can blame that. I think probably the pandemic and then the massive VAT that pubs have to pay. I think probably the best thing that Labour could do that the Tories actually refused to do was cut the hospitality VAT rate.
Why?
I think that would be...
Why is there this VAT hospitality rate? Because I didn't realise until a few weeks ago how crippling it is for hospitality.
And I think you could massively make it up by taxing alcohol in stores more, because you can get a bottle of wine for £1.99 in a store. That's absolutely nuts.
Very nice wine.
Oh, well, listen, when you're drinking it in the dark, it's bottle after bottle, it tastes pretty good.
We can all agree that this Labor Party is driving us to the drink, so we need as many pubs open as possible. Renee, what do you have for us?
OK, so I was really, really pleased, but not really. I felt sick, actually, when I listened to it. When Yvette Cooper this week declared her love of the British flags, she went as far as to just bend over so backwards to say that she had bunting of the Union flag, she had bunting of the St George's flag, they had blankets, she even had a Yorkshire Rose bunting and tea. So we found this picture on the internet of what we think Yvette and Ed's flat must look like.
That's good.
That's great.
I mean, it's truly ridiculous, isn't it?
It makes me feel very patriotic knowing that my foreign secretary is wearing the flag like that.
It'd be triggering all your lefties. They're far right now, aren't they?
But it's so cynical, isn't it, Alex? In that it's everyone's saying, well, they're prioritising illegal migrants over the British. They're not patriotic, and so they just then do this very kind of silly messaging campaign, which is so obvious. It's patronising.
Yeah, I want to see the receipts, right? Show me the pictures of it. If you're so proud of all this stuff that you supposedly have in your home, show us the inside of it. Show us the real pictures. You can't just say something and then not deliver the goods.
Andy, it was cringeworthy.
Oh, yeah, it was absolutely... It just made me quite sad. I'm sure she probably has in England.
Trey, do you have a Union Jack or a Union flag in your house?
No, I don't actually, but I'm not against it, and that is why I say that it actually should be introduced. And I say it again and again, and I link it back to the pub thing. I think certain things should be protected, like the flag should be protected, etc. And then pubs should be encouraged. Things that are culturally British should be protected.
I have 2 Union Jack cushions in my lounge and a Union Jack blanket.
I used to have, though, I don't know if you guys remember, there was this cool Converse trainer that was Union Jack. I used to have one of those. Very cool. But just because it looks cool. Because it looks cool.
It's a beautiful flag. The coolest member of the Saturday Five. Alex, what do you have for us?
Yes, well, my good friends at Ofcom are in a little bit of trouble themselves this time. All the teachers getting taken to the headmaster's office. Isn't that unusual, eh? Well, lawyers in America are filing complaints and lawsuits, potentially, at Ofcom, trying to drag them into some sort of committee hearing because they are seeing American companies be censored by this British bureaucracy. It's absolutely nuts, isn't it, when you think that our little government, our little regulator is having an impact globally because of this online censorship bill, which is applauded by many of the Tories today still, by the way. I just think this is great. America is standing up for our right to free speech and actually taking to town people who believe in censorship and which is seemingly embedded in our bureaucracy now.
Absolutely. Without actually speaking specifically on the conduct of Ofcom, I think it's ludicrous that there is a media regulator in this country. You don't just get balance by, artificially saying you've got to have someone from the left and someone from the right. You do it by actually encouraging debate and creating a culture of debate, which the left haven't done. Isn't that right, Andy?
Oh, Ofcom, I love you. Please, I need a job. I need paying. Please, don't go. Please, guys. I think more on the story, I think this would be quite a cool, funny, freedom moment if it wasn't the 2 companies that were pursuing them. It was 4chan and another kind of quite distasteful website going after them, which I think probably kids in the country shouldn't have access to some of the stuff on their websites, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know it's bad and not boom
I disagree.
freedom.
I think parents should be in charge of what kids are
Thank
actually
you.
seeing. I'm very much libertarian when it comes to what we can see. There's sometimes in certain channels you've got to actually get a VPN just to actually watch these things. Do you know? I just think let us be free to do what we want.
VPN are you using, Trey?
Nord. I'm advertising it. I'm supposed to do that.
Other VPNs are available.
Other VPNs are available.
Yeah, I still find it funny that VPNs are still the top of the App Store in the UK, and the time where they are most popular is 2 a.m. at night.
Can I just say... One of our colleagues at GBNews celebrated the fact that porn had gone down, use of porn had gone down 50%, and I pointed to the fact that actually it wouldn't be tracked because the traffic would go through the VPN in other countries. I don't think that's true at all. I think more people probably doing it now because they feel like it's a bit of a guilty secret.
Yeah, porn usage in French has had an unusual spike.
Anyway, this could take us down an unpleasant path, which I want to avoid.
The extra's coming up soon.
Trey, what have you got for us?
So I've got the story of our lovely, colourful Conor McGregor wanting to be the Irish president. I think it's interesting because obviously I loved him as a UFC fighter. When we're talking about a charisma deficit, I mean, he clearly isn't someone that lacks any charisma. But I think when it comes to something like the gravitas of actually political office, with his slightly dubious record around certain things that we won't go into, I don't know if it's just kind of like populism on steroids now, where all sorts of people that have a bit of a following, especially sort of this macho following, whether they think that can transcend into politics. What do you guys think?
Well, I think before that, I think we actually have a clip of McGregor that
let's run this.
show.
Good morning, citizens of Ireland. I'm here today outside the office of the Taoiseach and Taoiseach, where we are over 200 days into the formation of current government. In these times, this government has cost us our peace of mind, our security, our hope for the future, and the general well-being of Irish citizens nationwide has decreased dramatically.
Well, the delivery was a tad stilted, but I think the messaging was right. What do you make of that, Renee?
I think what's really interesting, Trey, about what you said about, it's a bit macho and this following that he's got, therein lies the problem with the world as we know it at the moment. That people are feeling so lost in it, be it boys who just are lost and don't have role models, girls who think that all boys are toxic, that it is inevitable that people will gravitate towards characters like this, whether you like it or not. So either fix the world and make everybody feel more comfortable, or expect this to happen.
I think that's very well said. Andy, what do you have? I
think he's an absolute wrong, and I think it's to be honest, I think it's nice that he wore a suit that was the same colour as the wall behind him, and it's very sad that kind of people in Florida can't vote in Ireland, otherwise he might win. But no, people in Ireland don't actually like him. They think he's a disgrace because of what he's done, and I think he's an embarrassment to show his face.
A divisive figure. What do you have for us for the bunch of five?
I was told this was quite a light, humorous slot, and having heard these stories, I think I've chosen a bit inappropriately. I think I've got a video for you of Chuck E. Cheese getting arrested in Florida.
Don't resist. Do not resist. Don't let your hands go. Let your hands go. I got it.
It's just class. And they were telling him, Chucky, calm down, Chucky, calm down. I think it's just he did actually get done for stealing people's credit cards, which is extremely serious. You shouldn't do it. But I thought it was quite funny they arrested him in the suit and referred to him as Chucky during the arrest.
So you know what I love this is just the lefties will go mad for this. This is Trump's America. This is what Trump's America is doing. They're arresting cartoon characters now. But you know what? There was a really interesting video because there's two other guys. One of them was just a Spider-Man. One was just Batman not that long ago who also got arrested. And it was just absolute comedy gold.
It's just
comedy gold.
Supposed to be our superheroes not getting arrested.
It's sad.
I don't know who Chuck E. Cheese was.
He's a mascot of an American brand chain restaurant. Sad, an American hero down the drain. Trump's American.
One less criminal off the streets. I think that's a great thing. Get that Chuck E. Cheese out of here. He's a nasty guy, Chuck E. Cheese. I've heard terrible things about him.
Well said, Donald. Ladies and gentlemen, still to come tonight.
The most radical thing you can do right now is start dating immigrants.
Oh dear. You're with the Saturday 5 live on GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
I'm excited for them. They match each other in ambition, and it gives you faith, amen, that you can have it all, a successful career and start a family. I think it's very romantic. And I love the way that he celebrates her. I think that that's the sweetest thing to watch. I mean, they do celebrate each other, but watching the way Travis celebrates Taylor's wins is really, I mean, she could be an intimidating character. She's this self-made, very intelligent woman.
And they're just such a lovely couple together, aren't they, Kinsey? I mean, this is huge news all over the world. It got millions of likes within minutes, didn't it? But it's huge news stateside because even the president was asked about it. And we've got a clip of that. Let's just have a listen to what he had to say.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
That's very nice, Kinsey. Very generous towards Taylor Swift because he said previously, I think, that he hates her, hasn't he?
He did say that on Truth Social, so this is an improvement. Yeah, I mean, this is more than a celebrity couple. It's become a cultural milestone. They met through Travis's podcast. He went to her concert and was disappointed that he didn't get to meet her and was complaining about it on his podcast. And they quickly became the most talked about pairing in modern pop culture. She attends his games. NFL ratings have gone through the roof over it. And you're right, it is a national talking point. So, of course, we're excited 2 years after they started dating that they're going to take the next big step and get married.
When is the big day likely to be, Kinsey?
I think that they might keep this a secret from us.
The People's Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, coming to you live from the GBNews studios. Coming up from 8 p.m, it is Ask the Five. Please get your questions in. We love answering your questions on the Saturday 5 Extra. Please go to gbnews.com/your say. But now, and this is one of our favourite parts of the show, it's time for Triggered Tantrums. Yes, it is. It is our favourite part of the show. Coming up, we've got the Saturday 5 Extra. We're going to let our hair down. Anything can happen. What could possibly go wrong? I can hear the beers being poured as we speak. So get ready. We will be getting into that at the top of the hour.
I want to know what your triggered tantrum is first. What's your triggered tantrum?
Oh, okay, yeah, so we can kick off. So there is actually a really interesting little development going on at the moment of shaming of people being nasty to kids at sporting games. I think it's deservedly so. Let's see what we can see here from Philadelphia. It was a Philadelphia baseball game.
What is going on? What was going on?
What's happened is that there's been a home run.
Mm-hmm.
He's raced to get the ball. He's picked it up, and then he's gone and given it to his kid. Because you always give the ball to the kid.
Yeah.
And then this Karen has come up and said, "No, that's my ball." And
for God's sake. We saw this happen with the tennis the other day. What is wrong with these people?
But the reason that I've brought this up is that this has now gone viral across the internet. It's the biggest thing on Twitter today. And so her life is about to change in a pretty dramatic way. And you know what? Good riddance, what I say.
You know what it is, don't you? We've moved into this selfish society where it's just me, me, me. And adults have forgotten that they're here to make life fun for little people.
I'm sorry, she looks like the sort of person that would do this anyway,
Yeah,
frankly.
there's a look, isn't there?
Sorry, you can spot them a mile away, can't you? It's the trim.
I think, Dr. Renner, you are absolutely correct. There's just this selfishness that seems to have taken over everyone. It's a kid, for Pete's sake. You know, the dad's given him the ball, not even kept it for himself, given it to his son. Let him have it.
That's Trump's America, right? This wasn't happening under Biden.
This is Biden's America. This is Biden's
She's probably a Democrat, probably that woman.
I think we're in no doubt that she voted for Kamala.
100%. 100%.
Renee, what have you got for us?
OK, so, Will, I actually picked this particularly for you because I know you've been having trouble on the dating scene, and I think I've got to the bottom of it. And this is the answer.
You hate this administration and you are single, the most radical thing you can do right now is start dating immigrants. Think about it. It hasn't been working out with these American men anyway, has it? I wonder why. Well, look at our country, that's why. So when you find a man from another country who can truly appreciate your genius, your beauty, your whole life will change.
I just... I don't have any words.
I'm desperate. I'm not that desperate, Renee.
This is big stuff, mate. This is
technically an immigrant, so if we don't want him to get deported, someone should please marry Will Kingston.
If we can get the team to get my mobile phone into the strap line.
I believe Andy's single.
I'm not single. No, I'm...
fair enough.
No, technically, my girlfriend isn't a British citizen. She's an Irish citizen.
So you're already doing the job.
Deliberately to upset the government?
No, it was purely accidental.
There's a semi-serious point here, and I've noticed it actually on the dating apps, where basically every third person or girl on a dating app will say, "Don't go out with me, ... if you like Donald Trump or if you're a conservative or whatever." It does feel like that. We're getting more politicised in life.
This is why I think we saw this really interesting stat recently where it was like the right are outbreeding the left in this field, and this is probably why. Too picky. Yeah, sorry, you have to put up with someone else's opinions. Oh, wow.
Renee,
are you saying that the right are not picky? I'm very picky.
Well, no, but picky without worrying too much whether your partner has the perfect opinion, you know?
Of course, I'm sure you're not suggesting that right-wing women are easy. I'm sure they're... Alex Armstrong cancelled.
Stop spinning my words. Stop spinning my words. You all know what I meant.
Renee, has political orientation been a factor for you in the choices of men throughout your life?
OK, so it hasn't been a factor for me in terms of picking a man, but I have to say that if I picked a man initially because I was attracted to him and he turned out to be such a wet lefty, I just don't think there would be enough common ground for us to continue. And I am constantly astounded by people I work with on this channel whose other half is diametrically opposed to them.
Trey, what do you make of it? Do you think it should be a factor in deciding who to
Nah,
love?
not at all. I wouldn't actually date someone that was extreme left and someone that was extreme right. I think it will do my head in, because some people are like that. They're just always going to talk about it. Everything's divisive. Everything is seen through this kind of lens of politics, etc. I just want someone that's going to have a bit of
you're
fun.
laying ground all of the time for an argument, aren't you?
Exactly. Or you are going to have to just agree with something you actually don't agree with, just to keep the peace, which is not the good basis for a
So
good
what about you?
relationship.
You've expanded your net?
Well, beggars can't be choosers, Renee. But I think a lot of the time politics does overlap with values. And so I wouldn't have a problem if someone, say, voted for the Labor Party, but sometimes, not all the time, politics is a reflection of the values you have. And so that could actually mean that you're not necessarily compatible.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some truth in that. You definitely need to have values that are similar with each other and goals that are similar to each other as well. But I think a lot of the time, you shouldn't have to agree on everything. It's kind of boring.
In fact, you shouldn't do.
I agree entirely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, we've got the Saturday 5 Extra. We're going to let our hair down. Anything can happen. The pints are being poured. I think we've got rosé for you this week.
Better have.
Renee, what could possibly go wrong? So get ready. We'll be back in just a moment. But before we do, it is time for the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening, welcome to our latest GB News weather from the Met Office. It was a dry and mostly sunny day for most of us today, however changes on the way as we head through the rest of the weekend. Outbreaks of rain on the way and some strong winds increasing too. It's all thanks to this area of low pressure moving its way slowly towards us. The squeeze in those isobars indicating the stronger winds through Saturday evening. However, as we go through Saturday night and into the start of Sunday, for much of England and Wales it will be staying dry, some clear spells around. For Northern Ireland, parts of Western Scotland, though, a little bit of a cloudier picture. Some outbreaks of heavy, showery rain arriving into the early hours. And with those strong winds, it's going to be a very mild night to come. Temperatures widely staying in the double figures, perhaps even as high as 17 or 18 degrees in some spots. So a very warm and perhaps even muggy start to the day on Sunday, but a windy start too, particularly across the west. We could see some coastal gales through the morning. Outbreaks of showery rain arriving across parts of southwest England, Wales, Northern Ireland and into western parts of Scotland too. However, eastern areas of the country perhaps faring a little better in terms of some brighter or sunnier spells to start the day on Sunday. As we then go through the rest of Sunday morning, that area of rain continues to push its way northwards. Some heavy downpours are likely here. I wouldn't rule out the odd rumble of thunder mixed in there too. Eastern areas always faring best in terms of some sunnier or brighter skies. However, it is still going to be a very windy day across the country, but particularly across the west, where we'll continue to see some coastal gales. And it's going to be a very warm day too. Temperatures well above average for the time of year, highs of 25, 26, perhaps even 27 degrees. Monday then starts a little bit drier for all of us, a bit fresher too. Not quite as windy as on Sunday, although there will still be some blustery showers feeding in from the west, although plenty of sunshine developing between those showers and temperatures much closer to average as well. Although it's a bit of a changeable picture as we head through much of this week. Some showers, some longer spells of rain, but feeling fresher than it did on Sunday.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our